Hi everyone, welcome. It's Gina here again. I am continuing my effort at creating 365 somethings. However, this year is 2023. Today I decided to try using wood. I've never done any pieces on wood before. I've seen people do it. I know they use the smoother, well finished, well polished wood. But this is just a piece of wood that a friend of mine was throwing away. It's scrap wood, basically. And I thought, I want to try it. I don't know. I like wood. I like small things. So this piece is a 5x6. It's about an inch thick, I think. Yeah. And I thought, let me try a face. Now I went brave. I didn't use a pencil. I went and I actually just started with charcoal. And I thought, you know what, just do something. Just start, just get it done. I mean, however it turn out. If it doesn't turn out good, you could just flip the wood over and do something on the other side. Yeah, all of that was going through my head. So I thought I'd just start. And then I had some paint on my palette, leftover paint, and I decided to use that. It wasn't about getting it perfect, getting it realistic. I just wanted to use up my paint, and I've always wanted to do colorful faces. So here it is. And then also, I have a reference photo. I have a book actually, and there's a face on it. But every time I use a face, for me, it's not about, unless it's a challenge that I decided to try. But other than that, when I use a reference photo, it's not about getting it to look exactly like the photo. It's just about using it as an example to get shadows where they're supposed to go, to get shapes, you know what I mean? Because sometimes you would think I've been around on this earth for so long that I know the different types of shapes of the eyes and the nose and the lips, but I don't, because that was not my focus before. So I use it just to get little different ideas of what I could use instead. Well, not instead, but what I could use to, like, how I could put things and write stuff like that. So I'm just going in. Now for me, it was a bit of a challenge because, as I said, I'm using it as reference to where to put shadows. Also, this angle of the face, it's not like, even though, yes, you can see the full face, it's at an angle, which I am not accustomed drawing. So this was also the challenge, and that's why I really needed the reference photo. I needed to keep checking it to see where the shadows are supposed to go, how they, I found the nose was a bit strange, but I mean, that's how it kind of looked to me on the book, but yeah. So I'm just going to go in with the different colors. Now, how did I know which colors to use, where and where to put it? I didn't. I just felt like I want to try some blue here or some yellow here or some orange. And for the darker areas, I just use the darker colors. And as I said before, I just used what was on my plastic. So I just kept looking at it, the angle that I was looking at it at, sometimes there was a lot of shine, glare, that's the word. So sometimes I would lift it to see properly, or just for a different angle. You know how those artists, they would paint and then step back and look at it and then come back again, because when you look at it from a different angle, you see things that you didn't see before. So sometimes I'll just kind of tilt it, or just lead my head a different way so that I could see it from a different angle. And then I realized, maybe I should add some dark here, or I should add some color here. Oh, I didn't notice that there before. Or, So that's how it was. I really enjoyed using my fingers as well. Sometimes I say that. But it's really nice. It's a nice feel. It's a very natural feel to just use your fingers. Sometimes for the whole thing, but sometimes just in the middle of it. And, just to do little parts of it. It feels really good. And what I do too is I move to different parts of the face. I don't stay in one area and try and perfect that area. One, because I need to get the paint to dry. And if I keep adding paint in one area, of course it will get muddy after a while. But the other reason is because even though this surface is so small, when I'm doing it, I'm focusing on that particular area when I'm painting. So right now I'm focusing on this dark shadow area, and I'm not looking at the other side of the face at all, even though the surface is so small. So when I concentrate so long on one area, sometimes, it's like your eyes get tired and you miss things. It's like you have a picture on the wall in your house, and every day you come home and it's there. After a while, you kind of don't see it. Or even, some kind of nice, they do nice words now, and they print it and they put it up on the wall because it makes you, it encourages you in some way. You know what I mean? But after a while, when it's there, you don't see it because it just becomes part of it just kind of blends into the wall after a while. So I know some people, they don't like change and they just keep the picture up all the time. But some people, they change it out. They swap it out with a different one. And it's like, ooh, when you change your curtains, it's like, wow, this room looks amazing. It's the same room, you just change your curtains. You know what I mean? So it's like that for me when I'm doing faces or even any page. I focus on one area and then I stop and I look at the whole thing and then I work on another area because the eye gets tired and I need to refocus and I need to, not get bored. I guess my eyes get tired looking at one thing and then I don't see the whole picture, and I need to see the whole picture while I'm working. So yeah, that's why I kind of move from one area to the next. Sometimes it feels like I'm just jumping, but it's, that's just it. Just to keep the eye and the brain focused. So here I'm getting my shadows coming in. Honestly, I was really kind of worried because I didn't know there was like a sharp shadow on the face that I was looking at, and I wasn't sure how to get it properly without looking weird, because I thought if I do that, it's gonna look really weird. See, I'm trying to feather it out with my finger, but eventually it came in. There was a lot of layering, a lot of back and forth on this face. I decided to try using this makeup sponge to do it. I thought that would help it feather, and it wouldn't be as sharp as using the brush. So after a while I got fed up of that side, the shadow, so I decided to move on to the lips. See? And sometimes when you find that you're working an area too much and it kind of frustrates you or confuses you, you just move on to another area and then you go back. That's what I do. So now I'm moving up to the forehead and just trying to get those shadows in, trying to figure out what colors to use, if I should put in some more blue and the black, stuff like that. At one point, I realized that I felt that I didn't give her enough space between her eyebrow and her eyes. I wanted to put the the shine and the reflection in. So I was like, Gina, you have to remember to leave space to put these whites in the eyes to make it look more realistic. So I did that. This nose gave me so much trouble because, when it's at an angle, you have certain places that have a lot of shine, and it actually gives the nose a three-dimensional shape. I don't know, I felt that this nose was just really flat and long, and it was just weird. And I don't know, boy. It stressed me out. I confess, it stressed me out. But after, I was just like, oh, if you could figure out who I'm referencing, if you have an idea of who it could be, you can let me know in the comments who you think she might be. It's an older person. Okay, I won't say anything. If you want hints, you could let me know and I'll give you hints, in the comments. But anyway, yeah. And then these lips gave me some trouble too. I wasn't sure what colors to use to do the highlights and to help bring out the fullness and the three-dimensionalness. I know that's not a word, but still. There was, I was like, oh, Gina, how am I going to do? Yeah, y'all, this was a challenge, even though it's super tiny. I've actually recently realized that these smaller pieces take me longer. Isn't that strange? Because I do smaller pieces so that they would actually finish faster, but those are the ones that take me a longer time to do. It's really strange. Does that happen with any of you all? If you do big and small pieces, which ones are more difficult or challenging for you all? Let me know. I would love to know. I really would love to know. I find it so strange. Well, that's if you're like me, who don't plan, and you just go in with very vague ideas of what you want to do. Sometimes just a color, like, you know what, I think I want to use 2 colors today, and then you just dive in. Yeah, that's the kind of thing that I do. If you do that, stuff like that, if that's how you do your art, just random, yeah. Let me know if it gives you so much trouble. So with the eyes, yes, I wanted to put in a shadow, but it kind of turned out like kind of makeup, you don't find? I was like, hey, I'm putting on me. I felt like I was putting makeup on her. And I was like, oh, this is so cool. So I really tried to get the eyes kind of, looking good. Because she had this kind of look. And then even though the look in the photo is not what, as I said, it's not like a realistic portrait. It was just for me to get the angles right. Angles and shadows, right? But I don't know, she turned out to have so many, it's like it's like you look at somebody and you're thinking they've been through a lot, or, it's like you could tell part of their thoughts. Yeah. So her face, it's like you look at her and it's like, wow, you've got a lot going on. Oh, she looks, yeah. I found it was a conversation. It ended up being a conversational piece because of the expression that turned out on her face. And, people see different things in your expression. So, I actually remembered to do red lips. Every time I did a face before, my daughter would tell me, after the fact, Mom, you should have do her lips red. And then I would go, oh, I didn't even think of that. So I actually remembered this time after how many ever faces I've done. And I thought, Gina, you did. So I couldn't wait to show her. Usually I would do it. She would be doing whatever. She might come and check me maybe once or twice during the process. But generally, After the fact, I would tell her, Gabby, close your eyes. And I would carry it, or I would call her, depending on how big and messy my space is, and I would just tell her, close her eyes, and then, I would cover it so she can't see. And then when I'm ready for her to look at it, I'll say, okay, you could look now. And then she would look, and then she'd, oh, it's real nice, or it missing some, she would have her comments. But usually with the faces, she would say, should I do her lips pink, or should I do her lips red? Yeah, those things never used to occur to me before. I don't know why. But this time, I remembered. And my reference photo, she didn't have red lips. But I just thought, Gina, let's do some red lips. And then I thought, how am I going to get all the reflection and the different, elements of the lips coming across? So again, well, I kind of cleaned up my palette a little bit. But I just thought, let's get it painted. When I was finished on that day, I liked it a lot, but I left it. I gave it a rest for a bit. And I think this was the first time that I did that. And then I felt that it wasn't finished. I don't know if I could explain that, if I am explaining it well, but I felt like it wasn't done, and it needed more. Her face felt a bit flat, even though I tried really hard at the time to get all the elements in. It felt very flat. So I went back at it several days later. This is the first time that I did this, that I can recall anyway. I went back at it several days later, and I thought, Gina, let's see if you could, add some shine. Because I left the book there, and I left the piece there, and I kept coming and look at it, and then I'd walk away. And then I would come and look at it, and I'd walk away, and I kept thinking, this is missing something. So I decided, and I was honestly, I was scared, because I was thinking, Gina, if you touch this, you might spoil it. It already looks good. Maybe you should just leave it. So all those thoughts kept going back and forth in my head. And then I picked it up and I thought, you know what? Just try. You never know. And I did. I was scared, and then I just started adding that yellow to the lip, and I was like, oh my God, Gina, what are you doing? But it turned out okay. I liked it. And then after that, and I added the strokes in the wrong direction, and I was like, no, because you can't erase it, it's down as paint. But it turned out okay. I was like, okay, if people don't look at it too closely, it's not too bad. So, then I started just adding lights and darks in certain areas. See, I'm still trying to define that nose. It really stressed me out. I was like, this nose looks just really weird. So I kept going back and forth. It gave me a lot of trouble. But eventually I left it. I felt like I gave up on it. I was just like, look, whatever, yes, whatever. But before that happened, I tried. And then I went back with the eyes. So that's, what do you call that? The brow? Between the eye and the eyebrow, right? So between the eye and the eyebrow, that area, I was like, I put in the eyelashes too soon because I still had some stuff to add. And I already put the eyelashes in, so it was difficult. And I found the eyelashes looked so good, and I didn't want to have to do it over. So I was like, Argh. But yeah. See, going back with the nose again, still trying to... this nose was pressure. But it's coming to come, as we say here in Trinidad, it's coming to come. And I'm just, adding little bits and pieces in different areas, trying not to spoil it, trying not to freak out every time I chose a color or put something down. Yeah, I enjoyed even though parts of it was frustrating, like the shadow on the right, the nose, even though parts of it was frustrating for me, I really enjoyed doing this piece. It was a nice challenge that I gave myself, and I'm happy that I did it. I'm very happy that I did it. At this point, I realized that I forgot to put eyelashes on the right side of her eye. Well, her left eye. So I was trying to put it in, even though that side is the shadow side. And he wasn't really seeing it, but, she needs to get her eyelashes anyway. And then I thought, even though that side is the shadow side, she still had some highlighted areas. So I had to go back in and try to put in those highlighted areas, but still keep it like a shadow. You know what I mean? So I was just trying to put in the highlights as well as darken it, because it was heavily shadowed, that side. Here, when I looked at the person's face, I realized that she had some more lines, but I hated how this looked. I really hated it. So I just kind of tried to erase it. I just added some water and just kind of feathered it and just used a baby wipe and just wiped it up. I was like, nope, it looks awful. I don't care if she have that. I'm not putting it. And here I'm putting some more highlight on this side, trying to. And I just use something I had on the table there, and I just use it to prop up the piece of wood, because I wasn't seeing properly. The glare was awful. So here now I'm just adding some more highlight. I really felt like I was putting makeup on her face. And I was like, wow, Gina, you don't even do this for your face. It looks good. But yeah. Then I was looking at her shadows again, and I saw that there was a certain shadow under the eyebrow there, and I thought, why not? And I just went really brave and I did this. And I was thinking, oh my gosh, what madness. 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 But I left it in. For me, I guess it was just about mixing the right shade and just adding color. I really enjoy doing colored faces. And I actually want to do more of it. We'll see how that goes. But this was a lovely challenge for myself. Here I'm trying to get that, this sink you have in the middle of your lip there. I'm trying to get that into. So right now it's just about looking at the little details on the book and checking to see if I want to add them on my face that I'm doing and how I want to add them. Because as I said, I'm not trying to get it to look like the picture. It's just about putting in stuff that I would miss you know, if I was using my imagination. Yeah. Getting the shadows right, the angle right, the shapes. But it's not about copying it exactly. Yeah. Here I'm trying to get the more definition for her chin area, which was a little difficult because, yeah, I really enjoyed this. And then what I realized is that every little detail that I put in, it kind of changed her expression and it changed her face. At one point, she kind of looked like a man with lipstick. I was just like, wow, look at that. You just add one little stroke and it changed the whole look of the face. At least that's my opinion. See, the nose was still bothering me, and here I changed the entire shape of it. I just blocked out part of it. I don't know. It made it look weirder, did it? Was it better before? I don't know. I was trying to give it some shape and just, instead of just making it long, and it looks like a hook. Like a J. It looks so weird. I was trying to give it some shape instead of just round. Because you know how sometimes it would kind of come down and stop and then come down the other, yeah. I don't know, it was looking weird. That nose really, really, you know, sometimes you just have some pieces where something in it just gets to you and other people don't get because they're like, oh my gosh, that is amazing. And they don't, yeah. So I changed the shape of her nose. It kind of looks weird now, but it was done because I already added it, the black, and it was done. I think maybe it looked better before. What do you all think? Tell me what you think, honestly. Feel free. Honest opinion. So here I'm trying to make it darker, this area, because it's supposed to be in heavy shadow and it's not. So I'm trying to make it darker, which was difficult because I ended up using two different types of black. Meaning the paint type, it was two different types. It was in the same brand. That's it. So that was a bit difficult. I didn't want it to look weird. So because of that, I ended up having to do over the entire area. I just actually wanted to touch up one part, which was the part that was very close to the nose. But because I know that it was a different brand, I knew that it would look kind of weird. So finally, here I decided that I was done. I'm using the Mod Podge Shine, and look at this transformation. Look, look, look. Her face just popped. It just popped. I was kind of screaming in my room when I did it. So this is it. This is her. Let me know what you think. I love it. Let me know what you think.